All right, hello class. In this video, we are going to start adding some finishing touches. There's several things we can do for finishing touches on just practicing our Photoshop tools. And this one is a good one. It's great. It works. And again, if you're rendering any kind of way, you can use this with any other sets of tools besides the ones in this lessons. And that's to create grass edges to really set things down, particularly the building and the path that we made in the tree trunks. They all feel like they're floating on top of the grass. As soon as we paint a little grass in, it's going to feel like it's all sort of into the plane. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a new layer way up near the top. I'm going to make a new layer there and just going to call it grass, I don't know, edging or something like that. And what we're going to have to do is we're going to use a special paintbrush. Actually, we're going to use the clone stamp too as well, but I'm going to show you how to do that. So first is the clone stamp. I'm going to select clone stamp, and I have to select the right paintbrush. Now, what you have to do now is you have to import legacy brushes. So if you haven't done so, click on this little icon there and go to legacy brushes, and you can sort of pull up your legacy brushes. Now I've already done mine, which is it said just to restore them. But if you do that and you scroll down now, you'll get legacy brushes, and then open up default brushes down here. And if you scroll down further, again, it might be scrolled down pretty far here. Right here, you're going to get to grass. Okay, now I'm just going to show you how to do this. The first thing is talk about clone stamp for a second. Now, the way clone stamp works is you first have to set the target. To set the target, you press Alt on your keyboard. You notice that my icon becomes a little target symbol. And you pick where you want to be painting from. So in this case, I'm going to try to replicate grass. So I need to make sure my target's over grass. All right. And then you let go. Once you clicked, you let go of both Alt, and you come up somewhere else in your drawing, and you just click. Now I'm going to do the sky just for a minute, just so you can see what happens. So you can see now I'm painting what is down here at the target. That little plus sign down the bottom of my screen is being replicated up there in the sky. Now, if I need to make my grass edges larger, which it looks like I might need to, I'm just going to select here and make these larger. I'll make them too big so we can really see what's happening, but we can see it's creating little things that look like grass sort of randomly appearing, and it's doing it in whatever color was down in my bottom here. Now we'll notice if I paint this and I come up over my path, that lower plus sign's over my path, you can see now it's making the path, right? Or and so what you need to do in those cases, you just have to reset Alt over top of the grass, and I can repaint that as grass. So we'll see as I go through. It's a bit of press Alt, set on grass, do where you need to paint. Do a little bit, press Alt, paint a little bit. Now I just painted in the sky, which I don't want. So let me just select everything for a moment and delete that layer. And I want to select a paintbrush size that's better. We can see the icon. I like to be a little dramatic about it, so I'm going to make them probably a little bit bigger than they need to be. But I'll set my paintbrush size to about there. So I'm going to press Alt down here in the grass field, and I'm going to paint along the edge of my building, just right along that edge. Again, I don't care if my grass is a little long. It's right along here. And now, if I'm getting near an edge, I'm going to have to reset. So I'm going to move my cursor over here, press Alt again, so I can continue down this edge. We'll deal with the shadow in a moment. And I have enough room to sort of continue along this edge. And I got to continue along my building that way, so I'm going to press Alt over here and continue to the left. Now, at a certain point, I may get so far deep in, I don't want to cover up the path, but like over here, I'm really deep in perspective, so I might need to change my paintbrush size and turn that down further to adjust the perspective. So change my paintbrush size, press Alt, reset my target, and paint over here. So we can see how that makes it feel like that's all set. My building's now set in grass. It's not such a hard line. And I want to do that not just with the building, but with any tree trunks I see, and even a bit of this path. So we'll see how that works. Since I have a small paintbrush, I'll do this tree back here. I should be able to just continue just like that on that edge. And what I'm going to do now is I'll make this larger for my path, somewhere around there. And I'm going to press ALT over here, and I'll just sort of take my path around like this. Oops, I probably got a little high there. That's okay. I'm going to have to press ALT to do this side. You think about the side that you're doing. And in here. This is a little dark here, so let me grab some whiter areas to sort of blend that in a little bit. Oops. So I just have to reset my ALT to a lighter zone just to make sure I'm matching there. So I got a little bit of grass edges. You can spend more time probably doing a better job than I did, but essentially that's how you do it. Now I need to think about my shadows and the grass edges. And I think the way to do that is just to move layers around and do a little bit of work to my shadows. So I'm going to go to my shadow group that I made previously. I'm going to bring it all the way to the top for now. We can see it does cover the grass. There's a few areas where I have extra shadow that I don't need, like over here on this house and over here on this trunk. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use some sort of selection method like my poly lasso and delete away the areas of shadow that I don't need. Rather than painting new shadows on it. I have to go to my correct layer. I just experiment around with which layer that is on. And actually, the tree shadow can go up that chimney just fine, but we definitely don't want the shadow on the building from this back tree. So I'll select, again, I can just make it larger because I'm just worried about that shadow. Go to the right shadow layer where I don't need that shadow anymore and just delete it out of the way. And there we sort of blend that in. And we've got this building and the edges and the trees all sort of fitting. Oh, I got to do a grass edge right on this trunk. I almost forgot. Let me come back here, go to my clone stamp, ALT down here. Put that there. I shouldn't have deleted the shadow on that. Oh, well, guess I can just come here to this tree. I'm just going to paint this in. Edit fill black. There we go. I just selected that area and filled it black, which is another way I could have done any number of ways. There's always 100 ways of doing this. So anyway, fill it in. This grass technique works pretty well. I could have spent longer doing it, and certainly when you're actually working with real grass and real textures, which we will in a follow-up video, this technique will work even better. So good luck.